Welcome to Tea in Transit. Thursday, November 30 at 8:53 a.m. on Maui, Hawaii. And we have gate 9.3 in the sun and 16.3 in the earth.
See.
So 9, taming power of the small, energy for detail, potential can be fulfilled through detailed attention to all pertinent aspects. This is in the prana, what's that? This is in the sacral. And we have line 3, which is the straw that breaks the camel's back. Oh, okay. The overlooked minor element that always predetermines failure. Earth in exaltation, the use of force to temporarily overcome impediments, the loss of power through the failure to focus. Detriment, sun in detriment, is persistent force that saps vitality and turns molehills into mountains. The power to turn a focus into an obsession. Interesting. Hello there. I'm going to see if it's worth in detriment or something. No. Yeah, it's locked in detriment. So this is majority of people, right, are going to have the power to turn a focus into an obsession, or feel the drive to focus on something beyond the satisfaction of just like being aware of the detail. In terms of taming power for the small, energy for detail, this is like knowing what pieces are meaningful and why they're meaningful. And this connects to 52 in the root, which is it's a format channel, collective format channel. And it's adding this 52 is like stillness, so it's the restlessness without 52. Yep. So 52 is the pressure to like sit still and catalog the details, right? And then 9 without the 52 might be this, as Prana said, restlessness, or this inability to sit still, or to know when to sit still. All right, because we're working with root, which has a lot to do with timing. So Luke will now read us from the I Ching.
Let me put the page. So 9 in the third place means the spokes burst out of the wagon wheels. Man and wife roll their eyes. Here an attempt is made to press forward forcibly in the consciousness that the obstructing power is slight. But since, under the circumstances, power actually lies with the weak, this sudden offensive is doomed to failure. External conditions hinder the advance, just as the loss of the wheel spokes stops the progress of a wagon. We do not yet heed this hint from fate, hence there are annoying arguments like those of a married couple. Naturally, this is not a favorable state of things, for though the situation may enable the weaker side to hold its ground, the difficulties are too numerous to permit of a happy result. In consequence, even the strong man cannot use his power to exert the right influence on those around him. He experiences a rebuff where he expected an easy victory, and thus compromises his dignity. Well,
that was a loaded one.
A what?
That was a loaded transit.
It's a loaded transit.
That's just the judgment? Or that? Yeah.
No, that's 9.3.
Oh, that's 9.3, huh?
Yeah.
Ouch. I love it when it said the husband and wife roll their eyes. I had a moment like that this morning.
I literally saw it.
I was like, what? Why are you talking like that? I'm like, oh, I couldn't hear the baby. I couldn't hear you because the classical music was bumping. So just let it go, rather than like making something bigger than it is. Oh, that's a perfect example today of like overcoming the detriment, right? With like, from what I'm getting with this, right? Especially, and check and see if you have 52 in your chart, because if you don't have 52, this 9 is going to be this like, probably this, like, I'm gonna like obsess over something, or I'm gonna make a mountain out of a molehill. Yep, don't make mountain out of a molehill. And that's going to be, there's nothing wrong that energy is there, But again, if we allow that external authority to dictate the decisions that we make, that's not going to be very fun for us. Fun is a shit word. That's not going to be beneficial for us. That's not going to align us with ourselves further, right? So you also watch out for those little bumps that might trip you up. Yeah. So and that's part of the beauty, because if you do have 52, right, then perhaps maybe spend some time in your stillness and in your mindfulness and reflect on some of the details of things that may have eluded you before. Now could be a good time to do that. So let's see. Yeah, all right, let's move on to gate 16. So gate 16 is in the throat and connects to gate 48 in the spleen. 48 is this awareness of the depth. 16 is enthusiasm and skills, which is really, it's about like gathering skills and learning skills. And so gate 16 is the great art of enriching life by the harmonic channeling of energy. Chloe says, I've got conscious and unconscious 9.3, definitely rings true. Yep. Line 3, independence, self-generating and sustaining enthusiasm. Moon in exaltations, the proper timing to maintain rhythm and avoid deflation. The independent skill and possible talent to express proper timing and rhythm. Mars in detriment, the child whose overconfidence may lead to frustration and the ensuing dependence on others to regenerate enthusiasm, thus creating unnecessary reliance, the need to have others confirm one's skill or talent. Interesting. So let's see, sounds like a perfect energy if we have a small creative project we want to make into a big one. Flip the script. Yeah, you could do that. Okay, I think. Interesting way to view that. Yeah. 16 and 19 are also collective logic, scientific refinement, and progress. Interesting. Scientific refinement. Yes. See what people asking here. How accurate can things be with no birth time? Just try multiple birth times. It'll help. You'll get close enough. All right, so let's see. Independence, right? Self-generating enthusiasm or relying on others for enthusiasm. That's kind of what this is turning into. It's like, right? Because it's one where if you have enthusiasm, it affects other people, and then they have enthusiasm, and then that boosts you up. But like asking a fire to give you warmth without giving it wood first is just kind of madness.
That's so true.
Yeah.
The time.
It is time.
6 in the third place means enthusiasm that looks upward creates remorse. Hesitation brings remorse. This line is the opposite of the preceding one, the latter bespeaks self-reliance, while here the enthusiastic is looking up to a leader. If a man hesitates too long, this also will bring remorse. The right moment for approach must be seized. Only then will he do the right thing. Yeah, like you were saying, it's not looking up to somebody else for the hesitation, or not for the enthusiasm. And hesitation will bring remorse. So if there's something that you want to do today, I would suggest doing it without hesitation.
Right, or not look for like something that might happen today is like you want to do something and your strategy and authority is telling you to do something, but instead of going and doing it, you ask somebody else what they think about you doing it, seeking some kind of like validation and enthusiasm and encouragement.
Yeah.
When yours alone will carry you. Because this one, at least for me, my chart locks this one in detriment. And so is that why I came on T in transits? To come be validated? Maybe. Is that okay? Maybe.
Were you aware?
Was I aware of it? No, because I hadn't read the transits yet. Am I aware of it now? Yes. Do I feel more enthusiastic? I do. I do. I feel sad when I'm not able to when I don't have energy to do these, because for the first time in a while, I think with the hut, my own space, I was able to actually catch a rhythm and catch a groove with something. And so to not have that and to now kind of be back in a little bit more of my traveling kind of energy. I mean, I sleep on the porch. I sleep basically outside. Luke legit sleeps in a tent, but we're jungle boys. It's rainy as heck right now. But anyway, it really does feel good to be back. And one thing I want to point out, because Trick mentioned something about flipping the script, and a couple weeks ago we were sharing, and I forget who brought it up, but someone was talking about the terms exaltation and detriment, because the each of the lines of these transits are polarized, right, into an exaltation and a detriment. And depending on if there are other planets or other gates active within the chart that you're looking at, it will either fix something in exaltation or detriment, or both, which is called a juxtaposition. Which those are the little arrows that you see next to the transits. And but one thing to point out about it is that it's not like the exaltation is always good and the detriment is always bad. It's what we're looking at is the possibility for a polarity to be expressed. And Rob mentioned that if he could do it again, he would call it this or that rather than exaltation and detriment, because kind of like Tricklight said, there is sometimes the detriment, you can use that to your advantage, or sometimes the detriment is the natural thing for you to be experiencing. Like if you look in your chart and you see that you have any placements that are locked in detriment or locked in exaltation, those are really important ones to have a look at, because you might be attempting to express an exaltation when your placement is locked in detriment. And rather than fighting against yourself, that's something that you can actually start to leverage and understand and start to incorporate, because it's never not going to be there. It's the beautiful thing about that, right? I'm on TikTok here too, guys, just to keep sharing the message. What's up, TikTok? Thanks for sharing the live. Such different worlds. We're talking about the transits over here, which I was speaking on this no good or bad, and that's something that I think is really important within the realm of human design, is really embracing this. There is no good or bad. There are things that are, and there are things that are consistent, and there are things that are not consistent. I want to collide. Looks like a Nickelodeon.
That does look like Nickelodeon.
That totally looks like. Wait, TikTok, is that an actual thing?
Out.
Yeah. So, invitation for the TikTok people to come join us on Discord. There's a 24/7 conversations happening about human design on Discord. So if you want to geek out with us, you're welcome to join. Just read Gate 11 in the Gene Keys last night, and it was discussing that, I believe. Yeah. And so it's interesting, right? Because we live in a world where there are polarized effects, exaltation, detriment, this or that. But then we also simultaneously exist in a world of complete unity, where everything is one. And I know that might sound a little cheesy, but it's we're all made of the same stuff, and we're all woven together in this intricately beautiful way that you can't really you can't explain it, and that's why people argue over God, is because they feel like they're really close to God, but when it comes to explaining it with the language that we have, the language is not enough. It's when you get close enough to God, the closest people to God or the universe, or actually unraveling the cloud, are silent in happiness, and they're in agape. They're in this this beautiful dance together, but it doesn't need to be spoken to or categorized or defined. Now, again, that's part of the world. Doesn't need to be defined. It's perfect as it is. polarized world, it's so important for things to be defined. It's so important for you to know what is consistent, what's not consistent, at least from my point of view, because then we can start to take accountability for the shit that we're actually bringing to the party. Like when someone shows up, they bring something to the party, right? Or they bring nothing to the party, or they take energy from the party. And it's more important to know if you're inclined or your circuitry is inclined to taking more from certain groups. It's better to know that than to not know that. And if your circuitry is one where the transits hook you up in such a way that you're unconsciously taking from a group of people, it's important to know that as well. Same as giving, because again, taking is not the bad thing, because sometimes giving is the bad thing, right? Like you're giving too much energy to somebody, that's not good for you. If you're taking too much energy from someone, that's also not good for them or good for you. What is that saying?
Giving is receiving.
Giving is receiving.
Receiving is giving.
Don't be an asshole.
Yeah.
Know thyself.
Yes,
that's the one. It's
I
know
do have
thyself.
a question. Did you talk about how gate 16 affects people that do or do not have the connecting gate?
We did not talk about that. It's a good question.
I have gate 48.
Yeah, I have gate 48 too. So for us, we have a part of the logic channel is online. Basically, it's our spleen letting our throat know which skills are deep enough to develop and have meaning. Right? So it's like through this enthusiasm, right? Like the detriment might let you know, hey, you're not doing this for you. You're doing this because it makes you appear deep, but you're not actually deepening in yourself as you practice this skill. Something it could be revealing. And then also the proper timing too. Like you may have known the proper timing with gate 48, but not necessarily had the means to act. And now it'll feel like you have the means to act, which again, it's a transit thing. So you have to be really mindful of what action you actually take. And what I would suggest is if you do see an action that you want to take, and this is a transit hookup, what you want to do is then look for something to respond to that's in alignment with the action that you want to take, right? Yeah. Great elucidation. Chloe, I don't even know what that word means.
Elucidation.
I'm going to take it as a compliment now. Because you had the word great before it. Just because it feels uncomfortable initially doesn't mean it won't bring enlightenment or peace beyond the original discomfort, so it's better not to label things. Right. Yeah, well, in some instances, because it's like, it's good not to continuously label something the same way because it's been labeled that way. Like, I don't think it's inherently bad to label things. I think it's we run into a lot of issues though when we look at the label and expect the label to tell us what the label is, rather than looking at the label and kind of like what I do with human design, where I'm doing my best to like ground it into reality. And so I'm using human design as the finger pointing at the tree or the thing. But instead of just using the thing and trusting the label, I'm doing my best to actually go to the thing and consider where what label I want to put on it now, right? Because it's like there's an energy of putting a label on something that's like really beautiful, and then there's an energy that really sucks, right? Of like labeling a relationship, for instance, for one person could be great and that might excite them and that's what they want. For the other person, it's like, ugh, I'm not about that. And for me, I think both reactions to labeling are how you say. I think they're immature. I think eventually, when we realize like the labeling doesn't actually add any value or take away any value, it's our response to the labeling that then adds and takes away value, very real value. Like if you label something toxic, people are not going to touch it. If you label something like miracle, make your ass bigger or something like that, people are going to go crazy for it, right? And that's marketing. And so that's the thing, is like, how do we beat the big marketing engines? Is instead of trusting the marketing, we trust our experience. And that's the whole point of human design, is to learn how to trust your experience. And the benefit of labeling pieces of ourselves within human design is knowing always which room to go to, knowing always which center to go to as the final authority on whether or not we decide to do something. And that's very helpful because, especially as someone where my authority changes a lot, it's helpful. It's helpful to have that consistency. And I know the other reflectors in the room can how you say, empathize with me, of like, to be able to just always drop into your emotions and always have your emotions to guide you, or to always have your sacral to guide you. That's like, that's a beautiful thing. What do you say? Woo, emotions. Yeah, it's like, but again, those are the kind of extremes where it's like, do I label it? Do I not label it? Well, why don't you just stop tripping out, call it what it is, and then if it changes, then it changes. But again, we're not using the labels to tell us what labels to put on things. We're actually choosing the name of the thing based off of our relationship with the thing. Can you explain the difference between undefined gates and defined gates as a whole? Not right now, Chris. I'm doing a T in transit thing, but I'm also in a glass case of emotion. Yeah. Actually, maybe I can. So currently, if you have, like, I have gate 48, and Luke asked about people who have gate 48, which is in the spleen, and it connects to gate 16, which the Earth is transiting gate 16. So for me, gate 16 is undefined. So I'm typically not, I don't have this consistent expression of my skill set. Like, you can take music, for example. I'll make music once or twice a week, but it's not something that I do all the time. Now, my 48, my awareness, I have this awareness that certain times when I'm making music, it's really deep and really connected, and I'm like in a flow. And other times I'm just like pressing buttons trying to be productive, right? And so that's an awareness that I have of the depth of something. And so when we have that defined awareness, we have an undefined manifestation that provides, again, the awareness, but no real capacity to fixate and like manifest and really work hard on something. The awareness is not the energy to work hard. The awareness is just the awareness. And so for all of our defined gates, when the transit comes to hook us up, typically what you want to look at is like, okay, what new energy is available? How is that going to influence my decisions? Because you don't want it to influence your decisions beyond, I'm aware of this thing, and I'm aware that it's normally inconsistent, but currently it's consistent, it's turned on. So that way you don't make decisions with a circuitry that doesn't actually exist within you permanently. Again, these are temporary hookups, and this goes for people and relationships as well as transits. Like when you have someone come along, like for instance, if someone came along for me and had the 16 and they hooked me up, there would be dynamics where it's like, I really feel like I'm progressing. Like, let's use music again as an example. Actually, I wonder if Justin has 16. Are you looking at? Do you have a chart?
Maybe.
Anyway, but it's not something that I'm like, I'm not going to change my whole life or make decisions based off of this one like hookup that's happening, right? It just doesn't make sense. Because if that thing is consistent, or that person is consistent in your life, then that will help you make the decision, or make it more cloudy, right? Because the more time that you spend with someone, the more conditioning you're receiving from them, and vice versa, the more conditioning they're receiving from you. But if you're aware, then it's not necessarily unconscious conditioning. You're aware that, oh, this person, when I'm with them, I really feel like I'm improving my skills as a musician. And so I'm going to spend more time with them. It's a conscious decision. It's not the only time I play music is when I'm with this person. So I really want to be playing music more. So I'm just going to go be with this person because I know they do that for me. And that's also pigeonholing someone in terms of like a utility, as opposed to the more of what they are, and being able to access more of what someone is. So yeah. No, doesn't have it. He's got every gate active in the spleen. I don't know if anyone's ever seen that before, but he's got every gate active in the spleen, which is really cool. He's a cool guy. All right. Well, thank you guys for joining for Tea and Transits. Thank you, TikTok people. I know this was like short and sweet, but just again another invitation to join the Discord. It's free. And then also for anyone that wants to learn more about the centers and the not self and pretty much human design in general, me and Ryan Life Force on here on Discord are hosting a course on the 22nd, which I will post. I will post that link somewhere. I'll post it here in the chat for y'all. If you guys want to get signed up, it's $100 off just for being a part of the Discord. Just because we wanted to hook everyone up. It's $400 for everyone else. So the link is going to be here in just a short second here. Should have had this ready. Sorry, guys. You can always come back if it's time for you to go. Man, the internet has been really having fun with me. Johnny B, oh yeah, you missed it, bro. I have if you're on the Discord though and you miss anything, I record all of the Tea and Transits and put them here on Discord. So, or they go on YouTube.
They do.
They go on YouTube. Well, while I'm looking for this link, if anyone has any questions, feel free to shoot them over. I'll do my best to answer. Mercury